Well, good morning everybody, and how are you today? Pretty good here, and welcome back to the channel. A few folks had asked me, how does the Tacoma fit underneath my bed rack, or not my bed rack, my lift, with the bed rack on it. So I thought we'd take a quick look at that today. Now, you'll notice, of course, the spare tire is gone, because by now, the spare tire has been relocated underneath the back of the truck. And of course, if you watch the channel, you'll have seen my trials and tribulations with that. It is the same size tire, diameter-wise anyway, as these. So there was a little bit of a question as to how to make it fit under there, but that's a whole nother video. So a few folks had asked me how the truck fits underneath the lift, or how it did fit under the lift with that spare tire on there, and then with the bed rack. Well, as you can see with the bed rack, it's obviously no problem, because of course the bed rack is lower than the cab. So if the cab fits underneath the lift, then the bed rack is going to fit under there as well. Now, the spare tire that I did have on there before, you guys can see, I think right here, the distance anyway between the top of the bed rack and the lift, and it's obviously there's plenty. Let me put a tape measure on here for you, and I'll show you how much distance there actually is. See if I can get you set up. Yeah, right about like that. And let me jump up here in the bed with you guys, and we'll take a look. So here we go. You can see the distance is about well, right about 15.5 inches would be my clearance. And I did have the spare tire sitting right here on the top of the bed rack. And if I recall, it was about, I think it was about 11 inches or something like that. More like about 12, maybe even 12.5. So when I had the spare tire on here, I still had decent clearance between the top of the tire and the bottom of the lift. So it really wasn't an issue at all. So little of an issue, I guess, that I never really thought to do any kind of a video on that to fill you guys in. Now, the only time it would have become an issue, I guess, and there's a couple things you kind of have to pay attention to when you have a lift, or a garage lift anyway. It's not really this part here or the edge, depending on whatever it is I would have sitting on top of the truck, because this isn't really the lowest point, unless you're right in the middle. If you notice, there's some metal work under here, and this is to slide these little trays on, and it actually does protrude a little bit lower, you can see right there, than the cross members or the edge of a lift. And then even beyond that, right here, you see we have these little covers, and these are to kind of cover up the guts of the lift, if you will, at least on this side. And that is even lower than this little lip here for the trays underneath. Which, by the way, looks like I have my tray backwards. I think I may have always had these trays on there backwards. Check that out. I think the trays are actually supposed to go maybe the other way. I'm not sure. It looks to me like they would sit down in the lip. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't actually, because if I had them the other way, the edges would not fit in between the two points on the lift here. So I guess they are the right way. It just looks kind of funny to me, like they should be turned the other direction, but not the case. So anyway, if you have a lift like this, not only do I have to pay attention to this front part here, but I have to pay attention to the sides depending on what I have on the bed rack. If it would extend beyond about this area here, then I have to start being concerned about what's up above here, because I'm going to rub other parts of my lift. There's even some little braces and things here that if this cover was not on, and it's just a, I don't know, a real thin kind of plastic cover. It's actually dented and broken in a couple places, I think, from when it was installed. I don't know. The lift was there actually before I got here, so I think that may have been a problem to begin with. But anyway, yeah, you have to pay attention to a couple of other things. And I will say it's interesting. You know, I've had this lift now on the channel and in this house since we've been here, and that's about, I think it's coming up on 2 years right about now. Probably by the time this video airs, we'll have been here for a couple of years. And I just noticed recently, I think primarily being advertised on Instagram, there is a home lift that one of the big time automotive channel guys, I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head, I think he's the guy that does the Chasing Cars series on TV. And he is apparently a sponsor of a, I don't know if he's a sponsor or just a user maybe, of a lift that they've come up with for home use. Even more so maybe than what I have here. It's bright, it's colorful, it might even be a little bit wider than the one I have right here, which actually would be nice for trucks. If this lift were a little bit wider, it would be perfect, because you can see, if you look here on the sides, this is where I'm sitting right now in relation to this little cover on the edge of the lift, and even the edge of the panels themselves here, what you drive up on, as compared to over here, which I'm actually kind of off the panel just a little bit, almost. I mean, the flat part of the tire here is actually still, I think, on the bottom part of the lift, but I'm pretty darn close to this cover here, and I've actually driven over these a few times, not enough to damage them, and I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there's kind of a clean spot here where I've driven over them a couple of times. This one might actually be a little bent, maybe. If it is, it's just very little. They're just covers to cover the guts inside, so it's not really damaging anything to contact them. There's a little scraping right there, probably from the tires. But it would be nice if they were actually just a little bit wider to accommodate the trucks that I put on them. But anyway, I just found it interesting that there is a company out there who's now trying to get more publicity or more involved in home use for these lifts. And I gotta say, these lifts are awesome. I mean, if you do anything on your vehicle, or even if you know, have a 2-car garage and maybe you have 3 cars and you're looking for just a better way to protect your vehicle, and you have the ceiling height. You gotta have the ceiling height. I mean, my garage is quite tall, so I don't really have any kind of an issue with ceiling height. But you gotta make sure, if you're in the market, maybe you've seen some of those ads on Instagram, or maybe it's Facebook, I don't know. But if you've seen any of them, make sure you figure out if you have enough height in your garage to put one of those in, because while they look awesome, they won't be any more than a real expensive, well, they're not that expensive really, but a heavy piece of junk that you can't use because you won't be able to get the car on top high enough to pull in under it. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, kind of address that a little bit. Like I said, a few people have asked me, you know, did my truck fit underneath the lift with the spare tire on it right here? And the answer is yes, there was no problem. It certainly did. Also, real quick, if you haven't before and you're interested, check out my other channel. It is RobMotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator right up here above us. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on your way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.